Hello everyone, welcome to class. So this is mathematics with teacher Abbas and we are dealing with time today. So this is a fresh topic and we'll be having 3 to 4 classes under this topic. So let's see what time is. We define time as a measurable period during which an action, process or event takes place. A measurable period during which an action, a process or an event takes place. So we this is how we define time. It's just a period in which an activity or an event or a process or an action takes place. For example, the period in which a child goes to school, maybe from 8 a.m. to maybe 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. That's what we call time. So that period is what we call time. And we've talked about time before under proportion, which we dealt with quantities changing from one quantity to another. So we also talk about time. We also deal with the table of time also under this topic. So let's look at the table of time. We have 60 seconds make 1 minute, 60 minutes make 1 hour, and 3,600 seconds make 1 hour, 24 hours make 1 day, 7 days make 1 week, 4 weeks 1 month, 12 months 1 year, 365 days make 1 year, and 366 days make one leap year. We have 10 years make one decade, and 100 years make 1 century, and then 1,000 years make 1 millennium. So these are some table of time which we'll be dealing with, which are common, though there are other ones to be added to the list. Right, so let's see what we'll be having. Now we'll go to methods of showing time. Methods of showing time. So we have two primary methods of showing time. We have the 12-hour clock and the 24-hour clock system. We have the 12-hour clock and the 24-hour clock system. So let's start with the 24-hour clock system. The 24-hour clock is a convention of timekeeping in which the day runs from midnight to midnight and it's divided into 24 hours. It's divided into 24 hours. All right, so a time of the day is written in the 24-hour notation in the form. Now look at the form in which we write time in 24-hour clock system. What would that give us? We have you can see the H, and then you see the So this H stands for the hours, and then stands for the minutes. Sometimes the SS can be added, which is the seconds, but mostly you see HH and then You may not see the seconds. So, what are some peculiar things you must know about the 24-hour clock system? Because we'll be dealing with changing 12-hour clock system to 24-hour clock system still on this video. So, you must know the peculiarities or what are the things you will definitely see, and you know that that time is either in 12-hour clock or in 24-hour clock system. All right, so in the 24-hour clock system, what you'll be having, you have the hours, and this hours is written from 00 to 23. You can see this from 00 to 23. 00 to 23. You must take note of this. Now the first thing you must take note is that in the 24-hour clock system you have two digits. Each of the units, you can see the hours, you have two digits. Even if it is 0, you write 00. If it is 5, you write 05. If it is 10, you can now write 10. It must carry two digits. So it runs from 00 to 23. It runs from 00 to 23, and then when it reaches 23:59, it gets back to 0000. All right, so we go to the minutes. what do we have for the minute? Minute has 00 to 59, also two digits, and then seconds has 00 to 59, also two digits. So we don't have one digit in the 24-hour clock system. We only have two digits for each of the units. Okay. In the next page, we are going to see some common changes between a 24-hour clock and the 12-hour clock system. So let's move to the 12-hour clock system. Now, this is a time convention in which the 24 hours of the day is divided into two periods. Is divided into two periods, which is the ante-meridian and the post-meridian. So the ante-meridian is what we know as AM, and the post-meridian is what we know as the PM. All right. So that is how the 12-hour clock system works. So that means in a 12-hour clock system, you must see either AM or you see PM. So you cannot write time in a 12-hour clock system and you don't put AM or PM. But when you move to the 24-hour clock system, there's no AM and there's no PM. Everything runs from 00 to 23 hours, and then the minute runs from 00 to 59. All right. So let's see. Now, under the AM and the PM, each period consists of 12 hours. So if you add the 12 hours for AM and the 12 hours for PM, it will give you your 24 hours for the day. All right. So of course we have that the day starts from 12 a.m. That's the midnight. Midnight. That's the morning. It's inside the midnight at 12 a.m. and then it moves till when it gets to 12 noon. 12 noon, that's where it now transits. 12 noon, that's the afternoon. So 12 noon, that's where it transits to 12 p.m. And then it now runs from that 12 p.m. 12 p.m. when it now gets to 11:59 p.m., which is the midnight, all right, and then it now moves back to 12 a.m. So this is how the analog clock runs. Now you can see, thank God we have phones now. You can see phones. You can choose to set your time on the phone to either 12-hour clock system or the 24-hour clock system, right? So if you are setting to the 24-hour clock system, you will now be seeing things like 15, seeing things like 14. Maybe you can see things like 13, 13:45. You can see things like 18:17. You won't see, if you are seeing something like this, you won't see AM and you won't see PM because this is 24-hour clock. 12-hour clock system does not exceed 12. It is broken down um, into two segments. So we have 12 hours for AM and 12 hours for PM. Okay, so let's see the clock system on like a table. Right, so you can see here 12 a.m. is what we have as 0000 hours. So some will put, you can see column in some, you may not see column in others. You may even see these hours in some, you may not see the hours. So 12 00.00, that's what we know as 12 a.m., which is the breaking of the morning. And then we proceed. 1 a.m. will be 0100, 2 a.m. 0200, and so on. So when we get to 11 a.m., that's 11:00 hours, and then we get to 12 p.m., that will give us 12, that's 12 hours. That's where it has switched to the afternoon. And then we have 1 p.m., that's 13. So you can see the 24 hours it's reading like that till when we get to 11 p.m., which is 23 hours, and then it takes it back to 12 a.m., which is 0000 hours. Okay, so let's work on some examples on changing 12-hour clock to 24-hour clock and then vice versa. Okay, so let's see what we get. we are to write the following, just two questions here, as 24-hour clock system. That's 6 a.m. 6 a.m. 6 a.m. That's in the morning. In the morning. All right. So what do we have at 6 a.m.? Remember, in the morning, for the 24-hour clock system, the morning runs from 00 to 11 11 11:59, and then from 12 p.m. will now be 12:00 till 23:59. This is where the afternoon and the evening falls under. All right, so this is still in the morning. That will give us, what do we have here? 6 a.m., 6 o'clock a.m. That will be equal to 06. Don't forget the rules for 24-hour clock, that the hours must be two digits and the minute must also be two digits. So 0600 hours. 0600 hours. Or you can, some may not put the column, some may not even put the hours. So if you see 0600, because exams, in examination you may just see this way, no hours, no column, that's still 24 hours clock. All right, so the next one is 11:07 p.m. 11:07 p.m. This is in the evening. In fact, this is the night. 11:07 p.m. All right, remember that 12 p.m. 12 p.m. is where we have as our 12:00 hours. So if you continue, 1 p.m. will give you 13:00 hours. Then 2 p.m. will give you 14:00, and then 3 p.m. will give you 15:00, and then you continue like that. So if you continue like that, 11 p.m. will be giving us 23, 23, and then 07 here, of course, will still maintain 07 because it must carry two digits. So 23:07 hours, which can also be written as 23:07. So this is the time, this is how we change from 12-hour clock to 24-hour clock. Okay, so let's see this example where we are also to change from 24 hours clock to 12-hour clock system. Let's see. The first one we have is 12:00 hours. 12:00 hours. What do we have here now? We need to know, is this in the morning or in the afternoon? That's what you need to take note. Now, the morning time we have for 12 is 0000. That's the breaking of the morning. This is the breaking of the morning for 24-hour clock. So as we proceed, it's now 12 p.m. It's 12 p.m. that will be giving us 12:00 hours, and that will be equal to what? So that means our time here will be 12 p.m. That will be giving us 12 p.m. All right, so it's something simple. And then we have here 17:08 hours. 17:08 hours. What do we get here? 17 is what? Now, once it crosses 11:59, from 12 hours, that means we are dealing with the afternoon. We are dealing with the afternoon and the evening and the night. All right. So, what do we have? 17. If we check, 12 p.m. is 12 hours. Um, 1 p.m. is 13. 2 p.m. is 14, 3 p.m. is 15, and then 4 p.m. is 16, while 5 p.m. will be 17. So this will give us 5. Remember, is we are changing it to 12-hour clock, and your time must carry either AM or PM in 12-hour clock. Your time must carry either AM or PM in 12-hour clock. So this will give us 5.08. Of course, this is in the afternoon, so PM. All right. So this will be our time 5.08 p.m. That is the time we are going to get. So this is how we change from 12-hour clock to 24-hour clock. So at this level, this is the first thing we talk about on that time, being able to change from 12-hour clock to 24-hour clock and then vice versa. All right, so that's all we'll be taking for example. So we have some activity questions here. The first one, you have to change from 24-hour clock to 12-hour clock, while the second one, you have to change from 12-hour clock to 24-hour clock. Please carefully go through the questions one after the other. And if you have any problem, please do well to mention in the comment section. So thank you for watching. Please do well to like, subscribe, and also share this amazing content to others. See you in our next class.